guys, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. Today I'm going to be doing an unhauling video because frankly I have far too many books that I've read, and for some reason I've decided to keep every single one of them, which isn't necessary. So I'm going to be going through my bookcase of read books and getting rid of the ones that I didn't enjoy or I know I won't read again. The goal is to get rid of enough books so everything is on the bookcase without having to be double stacked. So let's get started. I might start at the bottom shelf and just go through. So a lot of these at the bottom shelf are reference. I might unhaul that. I've read it. I can't see myself reading it again. So that's the first one. Again, same with Royal Palaces. It was a really nice read and it does have some really nice illustrations in it, but I just feel somebody else is going to appreciate that a lot more than I do now that I've read it. Tim Burton, so I got this. This was a collector's edition of Tim Burton's works. Read it, learnt from it, and I think it's time to gift it to somebody who is more of a Tim Burton fan than I currently am. So I think for the bottom shelf, that's about it. Maybe an upper shelf. Keep. Oh, I'm going to unhaul the series of Evelyn Jones, which is it sits between a kids and a young adult fiction. Spooky, Halloweeny, good read, enjoyed them when I was reading them, but probably won't read them again. So they can go in the unhaul pile. Here. Everything you need to do on philosophy. Yeah, PTSD from A-level philosophy exam, so don't need to see anymore. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I don't. Yeah, no. Just no. Sister Luna is a book I bought when I was learning Korean, and when I read about the book, it made it sound like the book was a bilingual book, so it was in Korean and then it was translated to English. But it's just totally in Korean, and I'm definitely not at a level yet, and I don't feel I will be at a level where I can read fluently and well enough to actually understand what these poems mean. So they're poems on love, life and family. So hopefully, if I send it to a charity shop, hopefully somebody who speaks Korean will be able to pick it up and enjoy that. I think all 4 of these can go. History of the Universe in 21 Stars and 3 Imposters. Again, it was a really interesting, good read. Just one of those books that once you've read it, probably not going to read it again. Mockingbird. Do I want to keep this? No, too many books. So Mockingbird was a YA young adult book. It's about Caitlin, who has autism, and her brother passes away, and it's about her way of trying to figure out what that means from the point of somebody who is neurodivergent, learning to understand what it means and the impact that it has on not only her life but the rest of her family's life. So yeah, it was a very interesting, good read, but somebody else will love it more than I do. Judy Blume's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Loved this. Gave it 4 stars, 4.5 stars. yeah, just one that I know I'm not going to pick up again. Last Paper Crane. I read this a couple of years ago, and I thought, more than a couple of years ago, I read this during lockdown, and I thought it would be a book that I picked up yearly to read, and I haven't picked it up again since. So oh, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna put this in a maybe pile. Felton Keep, Barnage Keep, Scott Kelly Keep, Philip Schofield. It was actually a very good, interesting read, but I'm just not going to read it again. So somebody else might enjoy that. I might actually chuck that back on my TBR because I read this in literally as soon as it came out in 2013. So I'm going to chuck that back on my TBR because I do really want to read it again. Keep. We got up here. My name is Lucy Barton Keep, Poet X Keep, Picture Drawing Great Keep, Frankenstein Keep, Pride and Prejudice Keep. Okay. She got Catcher in the Rye. I don't know how I feel about this book, is the honest truth. There are parts of it that I really enjoyed and parts of it where I was a bit like, yeah. I do have this weird thing of trying not to part with classics, but I'm not going to read it again, and it is just taking up room on my shelf. And somebody else may be looking for it, so we'll get rid of that. Skellig. I literally only read this last year for the first time. I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't this. It was cute, but again, just not going to read it. Stephen King, Elevation. It was a very easy read. I did enjoy it. The concept was quite odd, even for Stephen King. I just don't feel it's one of his best works, so I will get rid of that one as well. Divorce, Beheaded, Died. In bite sizes, I am going to get rid of because I have somewhere on the upper shelves, oh no, down here, I have Mortal Monarchs, which is an expanded version of this, and I much prefer that, so get rid of the bite-sized chunks. I wish I hadn't said that. This is a book that you would dip in and out of, maybe a book to have on a coffee table. It's just funny little things that famous people have said over the years. But yeah, it's for somebody's coffee table, but it ain't my coffee table. Unhaul that one. Keep. Animal Farm. I am not sure about my opinion on George Orwell yet. I'm yet to find a book of his where I vibe with the writing style. So I read Animal Farm. I finished Animal Farm, but I didn't quite get it. And then I also read 1984, which I ended up DNFing because again, like I say, it's the writing style is not one that I find easy to read. So I don't know, maybe somebody recommend me another George Orwell book that they really liked, and I'll give that a go and see if it's just my state of mind at the time, or if it is I'm just not going to get on with George Orwell. So I am going to unhaul Animal Farm. One child. Keep all those. Can't remember what all of those are about individually, so let's have a look. Just another kid. So Tori Hayden is a special needs teacher in America, and I loved her books as a teenager. I would just literally read them on a loop, but I don't feel I need to keep all of them, so I might just keep my favourite ones. One Child. This is probably my favourite Tori Hayden, and it is also the first book that made me cry, so that is definitely going to go back on the shelf. Child. So this one is about 7-year-old Venus never spoke, never listened, never acknowledged another human in the room with her, yet an accident in the playground would release a rage frightening to behold. The school year that followed would prove to be one of the most terrifying, perplexing, and ultimately rewarding of Tori's career as she struggles to release this silent child in obvious pain. I'm not going to lie, I don't remember this. Even after reading the blurb on back, I still don't remember what the outcome was with this. So do I need to reread or do I need to unhaul? I'm gonna unhaul. Tori Hayden's Silent Boy. Yes, I liked that one. Tiger's Child is the sequel to One Child. I didn't like that one as much, so I am going to unhaul it. Just Another Kid. So no teacher has been able to handle these 6 emotionally damaged children. 3 are horribly traumatised by the nightmare of war. Then there's 11-year-old boy who had never known life outside an institution. 8-year-old Marina, who was dangerously excitable, and Leslie, 7-year-old, yet completely unresponsive and unable to speak. These were the children entrusted into the care of Tori Hayden, the extraordinary special needs teacher who refused to give up on them. I'm going to keep this. I remember part of it. I remember certain children's stories, so I will keep that one. Twilight Children, loved that one, so I'm going to go back on the shelf. Then Ghost Girl. I am going to unhaul this one because I found this one deeply disturbing. Yes, that one is going to go. So we'll get rid of a few. Right, this shelf is... Have a look what we got. Now this book is really annoying because it's one of those old Reader's Digest and you get 4 books in one, short 4 books in one. And there's only one book out of the 4 that I like, but I can't find a way to buy it as an individual book. I can only find it in this. But I want to keep that book. It's going to have to stay. Okay. Kissing Doorknobs was about an 11-year-old little girl who has severe OCD and the way she managed to survive in a world that was severely traumatizing for her. Yeah, I'm going to Unhaul. I did enjoy it, but I think somebody else would benefit from that one. Grundy's Button Box by Stephen King. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't understand the idea, the logic behind this storyline. Yeah, so John Vine's Stay Where You Are Then Leave was good. Instinct by James Carter, good. So I think all of these are keeps. Just put them there for now. Happily to Kill a Mockingbird is my favourite, definitely my favourite classic, and very possibly my favourite book of all time, so that's a definite keep. I think all of these those are keeps. Right. We do not need this many Harry Potter books. So, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Let's have a look. It's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Read, enjoyed it, not going to read again. If anything, I will go and see the play in the West End. I just haven't got there yet. So that can be on hold. And then the Fantastic Beasts screenplays. Again, they are literally just the scripts of everything the characters say in the movies, so I can just rewatch the movies. They can go Ravenclaw edition of Philosopher's Stone, Quidditch Through Ages. Again, not going to read that one again. Tales of Beetleborn, yeah, keep that because that's cute. Philosopher's Stone, then Nina Lima edition, and then Christmas at Hogwarts. I will keep. So that over. Just wax some books on the shelf there. And then moving on to the top shelf, these are all mostly poetry and like theory books on writing. So let's have a look. We've got Harry Potter Diagon Alley and Harry Potter History of Magic can be on hold. Brendan O'Carroll, Call Me Mrs. Brown. It's a really good read, but I won't read it again, so that can also go. Journal, poetry prompts, burn after writing. So these are all my poetry books. The other poetry books left there are books that I've written, so I'm not gonna go through those. Right. So when I read a poetry book, I dog ear or tab, depending on if I've got any tabs on me at the time, the poems that I find really touching or I really identify with, and then I go through, and if a book is not dog-eared or tabbed poetry-wise, then I will unhaul because I obviously didn't find anything in there that I identified with, which I think is really important when reading poetry. But then I do have favourite poets like Rudy Francisco, where I don't dog ear because I'd just be dog earing the whole book. So Rudy Francisco getting stitches is a keep. I Am More Than a Daydream. I feel I need to reread that. So I'm going to put that back on my TBR. And then after I've read it, I'll decide whether to keep or unhaul. Wonder of the Cosmos. Again, I don't have any tabs or dog-eared pages, but I do remember enjoying it. Okay. I think the ones that aren't dog-eared, maybe I'll track back on my TBR to decide whether we are keeping or not. Wild Embers by Nikita Gill's got to go back on my TBR. Why is it? Oh, here we go. So like this one is, where is it? There is a dog-eared page. There, so I dog-eared that page on Poetry on Grief, which I found really helpful. That is the only one that is dog-eared. I had actually been thinking recently, so I'm going to try that back on the TBR. I had been thinking recently about my poetry books, and the books that I've only got 1 or 2 poems that really touched me. I was just going to copy them into a poetry journal and then unhaul the book. So maybe I'll do that with the books that are going back on the TBR that aren't dog-eared. Light Filters In by Caroline Kaufman. I'm going to have to throw this one back on my TBR. Nothing comes to mind, like no poems come to mind when I look at this cover in this book. Back on the TBR, which is not helping my TBR at all, I'm not going to lie, I've plenty on there already. Once Lost, Now Found by Lauren English. That is a keep. It's not dogged, it's not had, because I do remember I felt 99% of these poems deep within my soul, so I am going to keep that one. And then, where is Atticus Poetry. Atticus is again one of my favourite poets. I think my favourite one that they've written is The Darkness Between Stars. Right, Let the Light Pour In. So this is massively dogged, so I will keep that. Amanda Lovelace, I love Amanda Lovelace. I've got To Make Monsters Out of Girls. Nothing's dogged or tabbed, but I know I'm keeping that. And To Drink Coffee with a Ghost is also going to go back on the shelf. Corey Jane Spalding, I've got Book Close and Open Wounds. They were really good and they are severely dogged pages, so those will go back on the shelf. Donna Ashworth, Wild Hope. Healing Words to Find the Light on Dark Days. There are a few dogged pages. I'm going to put it back on the shelf for now, but it might end up getting unhauled at some point. So Uncaged Wallflower. I'm going to put that back on my TBR because it's only got 1 page dogged, so I want to go through that. Losing Myself Brought Me Here, again by Janae Cecilia. There's a lot of that dogged, so keep that. I Am More Than My Nightmares. I'm going to put on my TBR. When the Stars Wrote Back, now I got that for the cover, I'm not going to lie. I saw it was a really nice cover, and it actually was a really good read as well. So I've got a few dogged pages. I'm going to chuck that back on the shelf. So I keep getting distracted because I find poems. I'm like, oh yeah. I reread this one recently. Yesterday, I Was the Moon, and I re-tabbed it as well as dog-eared it, so that can stay. The Sun and Her Flowers. I feel this is one of those books that I will end up copying the poems that I like into my poetry journal, because there's not many dog-eared tabs on that one, so I'm going to put that on the TBR, not actually to read, but just to transfer the poems that I like. Pillow Thoughts. I'm going to keep that. Donna Ashworth. Poems on loss and grief I found really, really helpful, so I'm going to keep that. And then Rudy Francisco, Helium, I'll Fly Away, and Scratches are definitely going to be keeps. She Was the Storm, a couple of dog-eared pages. I'm going to put that on the TBR. She Felt Like Nothing was one that I definitely identified with quite deeply. TBR. Handful of Stars, again, it's an absolutely gorgeous cover. I don't have anything dog-eared or tabbed, so that can go back on the TBR. And in the Essence of the Sun, I have one tabbed. That can go back on the TBR. So that's going back on the shelf. I'm actually going to put that, which ended up in the maybe pile, back on the TBR, and then I will make a decision whether to unhaul that or not. So we've covered quite a few. Those are going back on the TBR, and then all of this over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 31 books that are going to get unhauled. Yes. So thank you for joining me doing that and keeping me company. I hope it wasn't too boring. And I will see you guys soon.